Hi guys, this is Jeff at Slavens Racing. I just want to share an experience that I had recently with my 2020 KTM 500. So now the 2020s, 21, 22, and 23 are all the same bike. The 17 through 19 are almost the same bike. However, just a few changes. Anyhow, and then the 450 is the same model as well for all intents and purposes, other than 50 cc's of the displacement. All right, so I was down in Baja in January, the end of January, with some friends. We did a 4-day ride. We did about 600 and some miles. Bike ran great. And on the last day, 10 miles away from getting back to the trucks, we all were getting kind of stupid, and especially a couple of us took off and we're doing, 80, 85, 90 miles an hour down some paved, twisty roads, getting back to the truck, just hauling ass, kind of passing each other, having fun. It was pretty stupid, but, we did it. Anyhow, the bike ran great. I had plenty of power. Actually, at one point, I had towed a guy for 25 miles, and I towed him at about 60 miles an hour when we hit the pavement part of it. So, the motor was running well. All right, so blasted back to the truck, got back there, sat down, had some refreshments, and then I started it up and loaded it in the truck. Drove a couple days to get home and unloaded it from my truck. I guess I didn't start it then. Because it's downhill to my man cave, so I just coasted it down to the man cave, and the bike sat for 3 months. I didn't wash it, I didn't do anything. I had several other bikes. It was wintertime, lots of snow. No reason for me to ride it. I just kind of pushed it to the side. Anyhow, a friend of mine wanted to buy it from me, so I washed it up. I was just thinking I needed to put some new rubber on it, oil change, some, just the basic things. Did all that, went to start it, wouldn't start. Motor turned over, but would not start. All right, so on 4-strokes, or any of these fuel-injected bikes, actually 2-strokes as well, I always get out my gauge. Let me find that here real quick. Right there. I just get out my fuel pressure gauge. We sell these, I don't know what they are, they're around 30, 35 bucks or something. So I plugged it in to the fuel pump, didn't have any pressure. It's like, well, that's pretty weird that it was working 1 minute and not the next, but that's how electrical things go sometimes. So I put a new pump in it. Still wouldn't start. It would kind of try to start, but it wouldn't start. And because the thing had been running so great on the trip and running up to the last minute very well, it never once dawned on me that it was something inside the motor itself. Because typically if a bike doesn't start, the first thing I do on a 2-stroke is I get out the compression gauge. On a 4-stroke, I'll get out the leak down tester to make sure the top end of the motor is good. Because it only takes 3 things for a motor to run: compression, fuel, and spark. That's it. All right, so anyhow, I thought, well, it's been sitting. Maybe the fuel went kind of funky on it. Injector's a little plugged or something. So I went through the injector and cleaned that, and cleaned the filters, all that kind of stuff. Still nothing. I kind of stepped back a minute and thought about it, went through a few other things. And then I thought, well, I better put a leak down gauge on it. I put a leak down tester on it. The thing gave very poor results. It was showing that the motor would have very little compression. All right, so I pulled the top end off. Now you got to remember, this thing had been running. It had just done 90 miles an hour. There's proof. That's what happens when you go 90 on these KTMs, is the tire expands a bunch. It gets a lot taller, and it takes out your mud flap. So the bike had been running great. I've been doing this for 50 plus years, guys. That's not my first rodeo. I've had thousands of motors apart, and it didn't even dawn on me that anything would be wrong with this low mileage 4-stroke. So anyhow, but I tore the top end off. Here's what I find. So there's the piston. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. But if you know anything at all about motors, you know that these rings are supposed to be in one piece. They're supposed to be more like that. To gap down a lot. Anyhow, you get my point here. So I had a broken ring. Oil ring was fine. Compression ring broken. Thing didn't have any compression, wouldn't start. Weird deal. I've since talked to some other tuners around the country to see if they've had this issue, and I have not run across somebody who has on a 500. But I have talked to lots of guys with 350s to where it wasn't this issue. It wasn't broken rings. One guy had a broken ring, but quite a few guys told me that they had, these tuners told me that they had quite a few customers with the compression ring would get stuck, compressed, and so no compression, wouldn't start. And on those bikes, they said they could kind of grind on the starter, almost ruin the starter motor, and finally get them to start, and then they didn't run very well. So anyhow, guys, that's just my little story on what I recently came across. It was kind of unusual, but if you're having that problem to where your bike just won't start, I mean, it turns over, the motor spins over, but just will not start. You know, these 500s typically fire up instantly. Well, put on a leak down tester. We've got them at slavensracing.com in the tools section. I should have pulled mine out to show it to you, but anyhow. A leak down tester, well, no need to go into how that works, but it's got great instructions with it that tells you how to do it. They're easy to operate. All you got to do is have compressed air to plug into the tester. All right, guys, I hope this helps you out. This was kind of frustrating for me, especially with all of my experience. Yeah, maybe I should have gone to the leak down tester right off the bat, but because I had just ridden it at 90 miles an hour and then restarted it to load it in my truck, and it started right up, it made no sense to me that there was anything wrong with the top end. But there obviously was. All right, that's all for now. If you would, please like us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and stop by our store if you're out here doing a trail ride, or if you're in other parts of Colorado, please stop by. We have a beautiful showroom. It's the KTM candy store. You can't even begin to imagine what's on our shelves and walls at the store. So get out for some throttle therapy. Enjoy your summer. And no more excuses. Get out and ride. That's all for now.